we are talking about Gen Zs and marriage is simply because we are trying to reorient a generation and a people that marriage was God's idea. So the institution called marriage is a very critical institution, and it's very important that we get it right as young people. And people like to stay there because it's all more of excitement and a little bit of commitment. The moment we want to shift into the place where it's becoming now more serious, then people will not want to make that transition. For example, take our dressing, our dress sense, for example. Things that were made for bedroom scenarios are now worn on the streets every day. I don't think that's a generation that's scared of rejection. Because you see, intimacy, another word for intimacy, it's not marriage, is a journey of knowing. The people you will marry or the person you will eventually get married to, 90% to 95% of the times will come from either of these four places. The foundation of a lasting marriage is not just the environment you met, it is the principles underguiding or underneath the relationship. That is why the foundation of marriage, hear me well, is that you choose well. That is why if you want to do the union well, the best thing you can expose your soul to has to be the Bible. It's the foundation or the Creator's manual for doing it well.
In a world full of confusion, pressure, and distractions, we help create content that gives clarity, direction, and practical wisdom that you can apply in your everyday life. So if you're a young person out there trying to figure out life, build a future, and stay grounded in God, then you're in the right place. Welcome once again to the podcast.
Hello, family. Welcome again. Welcome. It's been a minute since we spoke, and I trust you've been blessed by this series we've been on, Gen Zs and Faith. And I think in the next two episodes, we want to put a wrap to it, and we would go on to, like the scriptures would say, weightier matters. And I trust you'll be blessed. I think that we've been on this episode about for like 4 episodes now. We'll just put on like 2 episodes to wrap it up, and we trust that God is going to help us. So once again, the reason why we are talking about Gen Zs and marriage is simply because we are trying to reorient a generation and a people that marriage was God's idea. Marriage is still God's idea. Marriage was not anyone's idea. So if we're going to do marriage well, it means that we have to do it from God's perspective. And we are not too young to do marriage well. We are not too young to step into the institution called marriage. I know many times what is allocated or associated with a young person is the fact that as young people, you have to be free, you have to be wild, you have to be unplanned, unorganized. I know that's what is normally associated with the average young person. But part of what we're trying to do is that as a young person, you can be committed, you can be focused, you can be moving in a direction, and you're saying, this is the direction I want my life to go in, and everything within my space should go in that direction. I feel that one of the greatest tests, not the only great test, but one of the greatest tests of a young person's commitment will be his decision to say, I can do this if you're ready to do it. And this institution called marriage is a test, is a builder, is it prepares you for things, and it builds you into things that you would not have had any other means to have prepared yourself for. So the institution called marriage is a very critical institution, and it's very important that we get it right as young people. So we're dealing with some questions from our various episodes on how to go about this union or this institution called marriage, and challenging many times the norm or the normal thought process that the young people carry for this institution. And we want to continue in that light also. Let's get right into it today. So our questions today, like I said, two more episodes. So we'll take a part of those questions in this episode. Then we'll wrap up on the next episode. That should be episode 6. Yes, that should be episode 6. So let's get right into it. Where we stopped last week, someone was asking, so why do many relationships never leave the talking stage? And we're saying it's because of the persons or the individuals involved. Some persons just like the fun of the chase, of the pursuit, but it never graduates to the place where we have to be deliberate about the union. So some people are just they just like the the fun of not knowing too deep or not having this commitment for this person, because want to talk about the talking stage. It's the very first stage of the friendship, union, relationship, whatever it is you want to put in that space, is the very first stage of it. And at that stage, there is very little commitment, very little commitment, more of an excitement that's at that phase. And people like to stay there because it's all more of excitement and a little bit of commitment. The moment we want to shift into the place where it's becoming now more serious, then people will not want to make that transition. And it's because we are people. Sometimes the persons or the people involved may be largely um, involved in just the excitement of the union, but there's a phase beyond excitement. Definitely, is the commitment phase. So the one we are having here now says that, why does rejection feel much scarier for our generation than it did for our parents? I I may disagree a bit. I even think rejection was much more stronger for their generation than our generation. But if I'm trying to get what this person is saying, is that you feel that our own generation, rejection seems to be much more, people are much more scared of rejection than they were in generations past. I beg to disagree a bit. I feel my generation is much more at home with things the generations ahead of us would never even consider being a part of. For example, take our dressing, our dress sense, for example. Things that were made for bedroom scenarios are now worn on the streets every day. I don't think that's a generation that's scared of rejection. Things that were hidden, that you have to go to an extra length, let's say pornography, for example, to lay hold of in past generation. Our generation now, they now do that on the streets. I don't think that's a generation that's scared. So I may disagree a bit with that, but if you would talk about the fear of rejection, maybe what you would tag to that would be the advent of technology, which means that the things that would normally have happened in one corner of your life where the next door neighbor will never have to know, but if it happens here, people in other nations will even be aware of it. So rejection is not just localized now, it's much more, because the world is now a global village, is much more broad. You get, so it is definitely much easier to be able to spread such news. I think that will be what our generation is scared of, is the rate and the speed at which rejection, shame, or anything within that category takes flight or moves. That may be the difference to a large extent. This one says, can a relationship that started online lead to a lasting marriage? Yes, it can, if you know the right indices to put in place. Now, the reason why we are skeptical about online relationships and things in that sort, it's one principal foundational matter, is the knowledge of the person or the persons involved. How well do you know yourself? Because you see, Intimacy, another word for intimacy, it's knowledge. That is why you see ancient Hebrew, the word used in the ancient Hebrew language for intimacy or sex, as it were, it's called knowledge. For example, you find it when it says that a man knew his wife, Adam knew Eve, and she conceived. There is a form of knowledge that intimacy gives to you that just surface knowledge will not give to you. What does that tell you? Marriage is a journey of knowing. Marriage is a journey of knowing. It's not a journey of just having kids. It's not just a journey of just giving birth to children. It's a journey of knowing your spouse. As a matter of fact, when the Bible said, and the two shall become one, it means that the two will be so wrapped up in their knowledge of themselves and they are now one. Are you following now? So if the foundation of that whole process is broken, that is the courtship stage or meeting the person, if that foundation is broken, it becomes difficult to build the superstructure of marriage on that foundation. So the foundation of that journey is knowledge. The length and the height and the depth of that journey is also knowledge. So when you say you met someone online, we are skeptical about it because of the environment and the motive and the process of meeting. If within that space it can be generated that you guys go into a a place where you actually know yourselves, why not? It can lead to lasting marriage. As a matter of fact, what I want to do in the next episode is to quickly at the beginning lay a quick foundation for what I will call like a selection template, because the people you will marry or the person you will eventually get married to, 90% to 95% of the times will come from either of these four places. Number one, your school. Number two, your workplace. Number three, your church or your religious circle, your church. Number four, possibly your house environment. The person you will eventually get married to will eventually come from any of these four places 95% of the time. So the remaining 5% we will leave to events and scenarios like this. That does not mean it cannot work. It can work. There's a possibility for you to get married to somebody that grew up in your house or in the next flat, and it's not going to lead to a lasting marriage. The foundation of a lasting marriage is not just the environment you met, it is the principles underguiding or underneath the relationship. So, what leads to a lasting marriage are the principles. Again, the reason why many persons are skeptical about online relationships is that it breaks a lot of these principles. But if you can do it in such a way that the principles are preserved, why not? A lasting marriage is based on principles. It's based on principles. If your meeting online does not break those principles, then you can have a lasting marriage. I think that does justice to that. This one says that this one has to do with gender roles. I can perceive that question already. It says that should men still be expected to pay for dates and lead relationships, or should everything be equal? I think I've dealt with this before, talking about the concept of marriage, the man being the head. And it's not because the man is better, it's because that's the order that God, who becomes or who is the author of relationship and marriage, had set. So if we take that and we throw that into this question, that is saying that should men still lead? Yes, men should lead. Leadership is leadership in every sense. That's the truth, including finances. Now, if the lady in question chooses to participate in that or to help, like the Bible said, a help suitable, a help meet, a help suitable for him, if she chooses to help, it's her prerogative. But that is why you see, every good woman, a Christian woman is a good woman, or a Christian woman should be a good woman. Every good woman or every good lady within that space will naturally want to give a helping hand. So I believe, like I said the last time, you see, about A good marriage, what makes a good marriage is actually two good people. Marriage is the picture we get from marriage at the end of the day. The is what we bring to the table. Is the personality, the character, the attitudes of the persons involved in the institution at the end of the day. So basically, what makes a good marriage is two good people. People who they see beyond themselves. They know that this institution is to serve my spouse, is to be a help to my spouse. So when I see that they are hurting somewhere, I step in to help. I may not even have to wait for them to ask me to step in. I step in to help. So in that sense, the truth is, I know the fear many times is if I'm too good, I'll be taken for granted. A good person should not take you for granted. The fact that a man has chosen to lead and bear the responsibilities does not mean that a lady of our own initiative should not be able to step in and say, I think I can give you a helping hand. And the fact that a woman is giving a helping hand does not mean the man now turns back. A good man will not turn back and now say, you should, it's your responsibility. You should just carry it now. A good marriage is the union of two good people. And goodness is the ability for you to channel that character and the heart of God towards another individual. What will God have done in this situation? That's what goodness is. If God was wearing flesh, or he was in the flesh, and he was married to my spouse, what will he have done? I think he would have wanted the best for her, the best for him. I think he would have just wanted her to be the best she can be, or want him to be the best he can be. I think God will give a helping hand where his spouse or her spouse is hurting. Goodness is your ability to channel the character of God that is in your spirit. That's goodness. And I think that answers that men should lead. Men should always lead, and men should be in the place of leadership. Can a woman who earns more than her husband still have a happy marriage? Definitely. Definitely. Can a woman who earns more than her husband, I think we've dealt with that also. Can a woman who earns more than her husband have a happy marriage? Yes, she can. Definitely. She can have a happy marriage. Especially, that's why I said again, is a union of two good people, especially within the confines where the man is a good man. Because we've seen situations where, because the woman earns more, the man is plundering the lady. Every time she was even cheated, how can you even cheat your wife? No, no. I know those are the fears people have when they ask such questions. That is why the foundation of marriage, the foundation of marriage, hear me well, is that you choose well. If you miss, see, let me tell you, all the issues we are having as touching the marriage institution, marriage, this, that, the foundation of those problems is the issue of choice, of choosing well. If you miss it at that door to choose well, oh, it's going to take mercy. God has to show great mercy. It's going to take mercy. Yes, she can have a good marriage, especially if she has a good understanding partner, and everybody knows their place and everybody knows their role. It will definitely end well. It's possible. I think we should end with this question: why do Gen Z men and women seem to want completely different things from marriage? Exposure coming with part of the things that came with technology, that came with the internet. It has its advantage. It's also the fact that it gave exposure to our hearts, our souls, our mind. It gave us a kind of exposure that was broad. And the problem with exposure comes desires. So we have movies that we are being exposed to. We have social media and the gram life that we are being exposed to. We have the celebrity lives we are being exposed to. So So with those exposures comes desires. And the more intense the exposure is at different end of the spectrum, from the male to the female, the more they want different things and they will desire different things from the union. That is why if you want to do the union well, the best thing you can expose your soul to has to be the Bible. It's the foundation or the creator's manual for doing it well. So by the time your soul is exposed to the scriptures, it does not matter what every other person is saying or doing on the other side. That will help to a large extent to help secure your soul in the midst of a distracted world. And it helps manage your expectations to a large extent. So we've come to the end of this episode, and I think we'll pause it there till we wrap up in the next episode. So I said in the next episode, what I'm going to start with, I'm going to quickly give us a kind of a template I think we can use when we are doing the selection process. And we trust that Jesus and the Lord will keep helping us. See you in the next episode. Do well to keep sharing. Do well to keep sharing with your community and keep spreading word of this community. See you when I see you. Cheers.